these kind of open content, open licensing, free culture projects. So with the involvement of Creative Commons and Wikimedia, and the fact that it was a Canadian project that also wrapped up Creative Commons.ca, which is the Canadian branch of Creative Commons. So this all came together with these organizations to initially create a public domain database of Canadian works. And what we did is we started doing kind of our own thing. We created our own database, our own tool for indexing works, our own tool for determining the copyright of works, and you went to our site to do it. And this was back in 2007. We kept chugging along, doing our own thing, until we realized that there was a much bigger project we could be involved in. And at some point we decided we were tired of trying to come up with excuses of why our project should be distinct from the other ones in the market. So we eventually decided to merge our work with the Open Library Project. The Open Library Project being the project that is run by the Internet Archive, which is the Internet Archive funds the Open Library Project among other ones, and they have their offices in San Francisco. And this is, wow, this display doesn't work very well. But they have their offices in the Presidio of San Francisco. This is the Internet Archive here, except their data centers elsewhere in the Bay Area. But this is a building of many curiosities, including the Open Library Project, the people working for the Internet Archive, for the infrastructure, the people working on the book scanning project. They have pretty much one of every kind of thing that the Internet Archive does in here, between a server, a tool to digitize records, a tool to digitize books, a tool to print books. And while many of these tools are distributed around the world for their archival work, like I said, at least one exists of every form in here for all the work they do to integrate the projects. And if you've been to the Presidio, you'll know that it's a really beautiful park. Right behind it is the Golden Gate Bridge. But that gives you kind of a context of where they are as an office. It doesn't feel at all like a Web 2.0 startup or anything at the Internet Archive. It's a converted house. But the Internet Archive is mostly known for the Wayback Machine, which is their tool that archives internet sites going way back to, I think around 95, 96. And you can get snapshots of sites from before they were really popular, or just even if they were really popular in states that are kind of laughable by today's standards. And that component of their project provides indexing all across the web. But back to the Open Library, they have a combination of book scanning equipment and archival equipment and printing equipment and printed works. So they provide this, within that building, they provide this complete flow from being able to scan the works, index the works, search the works, reprint the works. Inside that building, one of the first things you'll see when you walk, if you walk inside, is what they consider the model open library, which is a room in there that contains the book scanning equipment, printing equipment, and a rack of servers, particularly this rack of servers here, as kind of their model for what the library of the future would be like. And this room is really tiny. It's in fact about half the size of this coffee shop that contains all of this stuff. And because their model for a library of the future is basically a small room that is staffed by a librarian or someone else experienced in information science, who has just the equipment at hand to archive things and to print from a selection of millions of books. Even though this library is approximately the size of half this room, it is one of the world's largest libraries in terms of the collection that they have, because it's all digital. So when they print their works, they come out like this. And I looked for a picture, but I couldn't find it, of the actual book printing machine. It's approximately the size of the 2 refrigerator cases over there. And what it does is it has a computer hooked up to it, and you're able to pull the book, and it will do everything from printing the pages, cutting the pages, binding the pages, printing the cover, gluing it all together, and you get a printed book that looks worse than this, but is in general like this. This one wasn't actually printed on their book printer. This is what they hand out as kind of an example of what they would like their book printer to do. So all of this is kind of the background to this website. Because the Open Library is much more than a website, but the public face of the Open Library is a website. So I'm going to go ahead and step through a little bit of what is on the website, and then keeping in mind that it's all an interface to all these books that they're scanning using this equipment, all the work that these people in that building are doing, and everything else they want to provide. So the front page of the Open Library this is up at openlibrary.org, and it provides searching for, like as you can see on there, 13 million books in their catalog, as well as 234,000 books with full text. And the full text for the books either comes from other public domain sources or the book archiving project they have that they use to go through each of the books that they receive with that machine that you saw earlier. That machine exists in nearly identical form in many places all over the world, including Canada, the US, India, China, and they're having many of these places archive their own works. They're not really outsourcing things in the sense that it's not like they're sending English works to India. The book scanners in India are scanning Indian works. So they have a global operation, not so much to say cost, but as to be able to conveniently archive things all over the world.